So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back again to Canon for the TV, where James and I actually go through some European stuff and some news. And we found out that we're going to be playing against FC Porto. But it's
Yeah,
not only going to be about Arsenal, we're going to be talking about all the other ties as,
yeah,
as well. But James, how have you been keeping?
very well. I was very excited Monday, and I wasn't disappointed. I think it's a great draw. I think it's a great draw because this is why we're in Europe. We're in Europe to win it, and this is the first hurdle now going into knockout football. No excuses. All the pressure is on Porto. None of it's on us. Porto have won 7 major European honours. We've won 2. Porto have won this competition twice. We haven't. Porto have also won the Intercontinental Cup, beating Peñarol of Uruguay and Once Caldas of Colombia, respectively. 30 Primeira Liga titles, 19 Portuguese Cups, 1 Portuguese League Cup, a Super Cup as well, and a massive football club and a great test for Arsenal. But they will have nothing to fear, not in the Dragao and certainly not in the Emirates. So it's going to be a really, really interesting tie. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Actually, before we went live, I was just speaking to James about the Back Five podcast, where we just talk about Arsenal in general, and I thought it's probably one of the best collaborations that I've done. Very, again, the debate, the discussion, well balanced. But James, we did a poll, very very quick poll, and I've got some results here. And the question was, can Arsenal beat FC Porto over 2 legs? Although we've only had 8 votes. 12% said actually Arsenal cannot beat FC Porto over 2 legs. Of course, still at the mass, 87% believe that we can beat Arsenal, beat Porto over 2 legs. I did a little bit of homework myself. I wasn't renowned for doing homework actually at school. A little bit lazy in that sense. And I thought, okay, let's have a look here. Our last 6 meetings, and I know a lot of people have been looking at the last time that we met Porto back in 2010. That was more than a decade ago. Things are now different. And we're going to remember, James, as well, like you rightly said to me, that these ties are going to be played in February.
Yeah,
We are still in December. There's a
yeah,
lot that can happen between now and then, James.
an awful lot, and a very important point to make. We have never won in the Dragao,
Yeah,
never. And that when the draw was made, that's what come to mind. That's what comes to mind. We've never won in the Dragao. It's a beautiful football stadium. I was fortunate to be there during a city trip to Porto in 2019. I went to watch them play Santa Clara in the domestic Portuguese league. They won 2-0. And the stadium's beautiful, well connected with public transport, with the blue, the purple, and the orange line of Porto. And it's a beautiful city. I think for the Arsenal fans going to the away leg, they're in for a right treat because it's. I love Amsterdam to bits, but if someone says to me you can swap it for Porto, I'll say where do I sign? But maybe that's for another day. But I sincerely hope to be at the home leg, even though I've seen Porto before. I've never seen them play Arsenal. I've been fortunate to see Arsenal Braga at the Emirates in 2010 when we won 6-0, and the 0-0 draw against Sporting Club de Portugal in November 2018. So be nice to add another Portuguese team to the bow, and it's going to be great. They've got some really good players, Alex. People will talk about Pepe being evergreen,
yeah.
but I'm going to throw a few players out there that are so important to them. Diogo Costa, the goalkeeper of Porto, has been capped by Portugal on many occasions. A great shot stopper. And also Galeno, the Brazilian winger, scored in the group phase, came through at Braga before joining Porto, is lightning quick, like Quicksilver, lightning quick. Stefan Eustachiou, the attacking midfielder, is clever. We think Odegaard is clever. This kid is very clever. And then Evan Nilsson, the Brazilian striker who come through at Fluminense. He knows where the goal is. So these are players that we are going to have to watch, coupled with a manager who has managed over 350 games for FC Porto, Sergio Conceição. He's lost only 48 of 351. Now that's people will say, oh, it's just Portuguese league. If you use your brain and you realise that the gap in Portugal has been reduced in recent years, Alex, it's not just the top three anymore. Braga and Vitória Guimarães, who also played us in the Europa League many years ago as well, and we only just beat them at home thanks to a Nicolas Pepe free kick, and we struggled in Guimarães. So the domestic scene in Portugal is improving, and we've got to respect Porto. And a really interesting fact, which I knew of, but it's nice to drop it in to this podcast. If it wasn't for the chairman of FC Porto, Jorge Nuno Pinto da Costa, we would have never heard of Arsene Wenger. And people might go, how on earth is that? Well, it's common knowledge that Sir Bobby Robson, who was managing Porto at the time, led them to 2 Portuguese league titles, was approached to become manager of Arsenal. And he wanted to go. He met with Peter Hillwood in his house in London. Everything was signed and sealed. Only for the chairman of Porto, who has overseen 68 trophies in his tenure as president and chairman, 68 trophies, having started back in 1982, I think, he blocked Sir Bobby Robson's move. And can you imagine what would have happened to the history of Arsenal Football Club? Arsene Wenger now is talking about the globalization of the World Club Cup of 32 teams. This was the same manager who, when we struggled to get past Udinese, put out one of the worst teams to ever wear the Arsenal shirt, and we subsequently got beat 8-2 at Old Trafford because our manager was hell-bent on Champions League football. And now he appears to have forgotten himself. He's no Herbert Chapman, is he? People forget with Herbert Chapman, the man died of pneumonia at the age of 53. And it was a shock to all Arsenal fans that our greatest ever manager perished, unfortunately. But I can't believe Wenger's rhetoric now. It's not funny. You are supposed to be a football manager. So you've gone from being a football manager to a social worker to a bank manager and now an international sounding board for UEFA. That's quite a career move, isn't it?
But James, it's a sign of the times, isn't it? You know, we've always said literally about, you know, people not doing their homework and just thinking about the here and now.
No, okay, but I agree with that, Alex. But I'll repeat it once again. Our manager, who was in charge for 22 years, went from being a promising football manager to being a social worker, a bank manager, and now working for UEFA. And we all fell for it. All of us fell for it. Me included, fell for it. I will go on record once again and say, if you remember, you had sections of Arsenal fans where if you even uttered the phrase that another manager could do the job, you'd get set upon. We are a club that are known for our values of looking after our fellow fan. There being no segregation, everybody being welcome, everybody being together. And what did we end up with? Because of that old man, people were kicking 10 shades of green out of one another on the terraces. And nothing happened. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona would have released a statement, would have removed him immediately and said, look, it's gone too far. But we didn't. But now we release statements for the hounding of referees. We're happy to release a statement for that. Or we're happy to release a statement for a European competition that we had no sounding board with our fans, with our clientele. Our club has changed immensely. And this is our last chance to win the Champions League proper. And we've got the first hurdle coming up. And we've got to take it seriously, because if we don't get through against Porto, and I'm not talking about the disappointment of the opponent, I'm talking about the realization that this is our last shot, and then it's gone. Next year is a Super League in everything but name, Alex. So what? Even if you do win it next year, what are you going to say? Oh, we won the Champions League. Wasn't the same. If you look at I say progression. I use the word lightly. You've gone from domestic champions being allowed to the top four being allowed, a first group phase, a second group phase, a group phase plus a knockout, and now a league system. It's been tinkered with so much in order to remain relevant. And now you've got a World Club Cup coming where if Dortmund win 3 Champions League games, they are also allowed to enter. So Dortmund fans, coincidentally, the first games will be played in America. If you remember the social media clip, it's in the summer when Arsenal and Man United fans are beating each other to pulps on the terraces in America.
Yeah.
And I was told by my Netherlands friends and my Dutch friends and colleagues, what's happening here, James? I said, I don't know, because we respect Manchester United. We respect them. Our biggest rivals are Tottenham. And if we hadn't have moved in 1913, our biggest rivals would be Charlton. But people have very, very short and very, very selective memories.
James, so this is where we kind of differ. What I'm about to say might upset some people, and I'm not really sure I really can be concerned about this. But I don't believe Arsenal will overcome FC Porto. A couple of reasons. Like we said at the beginning, it's a long old season. The draw has just been made. These games are going to be played in February and March, respectively. A lot can happen between now and then. Mikel Arteta is still inexperienced, so much so he didn't learn from the last experience we had in Europe against oh my goodness, Lisbon.
Portugal, also a Portuguese club.
Yeah.
But have you noticed the rhetoric? Oh, it was a freak goal. He meant it.
Yeah, no, they meant that. They planned for that.
Meant it.
Yeah.
And also Ugarte, the 20-year-old who was unlucky to get sent off. I name checked him with you on the following podcast. Who does he sign for? Paris Saint-Germain. It's not rocket science. If your eyes don't lie, when you see a good player, I watched my mate Alfonso Pedraza have a great game against Real Madrid. People will say, "Oh, they lost 4-1," but I was looking at his tactical discipline and his stamina. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm not flogging by going, "Yeah." No, I'm watching his footballing ability because I can recognise it. He's a brilliant footballer. If I could sign one Arsenal player in January, I want to sign Alfonso Pedraza. He's a brilliant footballer. And I respect your opinion. As you know, I've been on Cannon Fodder for many, many years, Alex. European football is my bread and butter. I love it. I don't just come on to speak to you. I come on to talk about European football. I come on to educate viewers, because what you're going to get from me is the truth. And we always work together. It's about being a team. I respect your opinion. And I think that we will get through to the last 8 literally by the skin of our teeth. I think it will be a 1-1 draw in Dragao. And I think it will be a 2-1 win for Arsenal at the Emirates. The dynamic will also change because there's no away goals. But also, remember that the last time we played a Champions League home game with the second leg at home, we lost the previous leg 4-0 away to AC Milan. I was at the home leg where we won 3-0, and Van Persie was unlucky to not score with the chip that was deliberately chipped to avoid the goalkeeper. I ended up doing the translation of his Dutch television interview for Gunner Talk the following morning before I flew home. But that was great memories. Great to see AC Milan against Arsenal at the Emirates, but I'm really looking forward to Porto. And also Sergio Conceição, he will be licking his lips at the prospect of facing Mikel Arteta.
They won't be scared. They won't be scared of Arsenal.
But no, it's got no reason to be.
Yeah.
It's got no reason to be. He's won 3 Premier Liga titles, 3 cups, and also the League Cup for the first time in their history as well. It's a massive, massive game. And I think that it's going to be a pivotal game in the season. And I reiterate what I say. People can throw eggs at the screen or sign off or do whatever they like, but I will repeat it once again for Senor Adeta. No trophy, no job.
There's one thing for sure, James. It will not be an easy match. Well, actually, over two legs, because I think some people saying. I've seen some people say, "Oh, you know what? It's a pass. It's a buy for us because it's going to be so easy." It will not. It will not be easy.
Right. Okay. For people that think it's going to be a buy, can you please write down what you know about European football on the back of a postage stamp? Would it fill a postage stamp? Would it fill an envelope? Would it fill an envelope? Sorry, almost said the Dutch word there. European football, I will reiterate once again, it's apart from the money changing the landscape, there are better coaches in Europe. The gap between the seasoned European teams and the better European teams has decreased. This is our 25th bite of the cherry. This is the last one before we go down in history as being a football club that's never, ever, ever been good enough to win this competition. I will sign off that statement as soon as we get knocked out. I will sign off on that statement. I hope I'm wrong, but I will sign off on the statement that we've never been good enough. But what I don't understand, Alex, is the lack of adaptability. If you get mullered in the Champions League group phase, okay, fine, you can get mullered, you can get beat, fine, can happen. But why not the following season try to play 5-4-1 away from home? Why not switch it up and say 4-5-1 at home? Why not switch it up? George Graham was mocked, boring Arsenal, but he won a European trophy. He won a European trophy against a team which knocked out Benfica, which knocked out Ajax, and Ajax went on to win the Champions League 2 years later. And Parma knocked him out under the guise of Nevio Scalo, who's extremely well respected manager.
But then, James, why is there a lack of adaptability? Like you said, why not try something different? Why are we not able, or why are we not wanting to modify our approach?
Because the attitude is wrong. Arsenal use the Champions League as a vehicle to make money. They do not use the Champions League as a sporting opportunity. If you look at the teams in the last 16, Real Madrid have won it 14 times. Bayern have won it 6 times. Barcelona have won it 6 times. Manchester City have won it. Dortmund have won it. Porto have won it twice. Just to give an example, we've never won it. Never. And this is our last chance. This is the last chance. People will go, oh, there's always next year. Next year will be unrecognisable. Next year will be parody. Next year will be, what's the point? Really? Next year will be, what's the point? I mean, given my passion for European football, if Arsenal reach the Champions League first and foremost, and they draw a Stuttgart or a Girona or a Real Sociedad, then I can say, okay, I'll have some of that. You know, if they draw a Bayer Leverkusen, I'll have some of that. But I will be quite selective, and I will vote with my feet. I see Edu with the happy to be here, just happy to be here. This isn't the Brazilian national team. We haven't got to lift a finger. This is a club that's been built on trophies, 47 of them to be exact. I remember being at a Premier League game in October 2002, Arsenal against Blackburn, where Edu scored at both ends. We lost 2-1. Graham Souness was the manager of Blackburn, and Egil Ostenstad scored for them, the Norwegian player. Edu, that day, now high ranks within Arsenal. But you see, with the website of Arsenal now, you know, I've interviewed Beth Mead. Does she really need a documentary following her ACL injury? to follow it step by step. Does she really need that? I think it's highly disrespectful. Tony Adams didn't have a documentary when he came back from drink driving, did he?
No.
No, so it's very much a sign of the times, and I think it's highly disrespectful. And I've interviewed Beth Mead before and spoke about her time at Sunderland as well. And also, they'll have to talk about the Invincibles. Ali Adier was the young one. Okay, but it's 20 years ago. We haven't won a league since. We had a 10-year gap. We had a 10 gap last season. Do you think if Danny Fisman, Peter Hill-Wood and David Dean and Ken Fryer was in charge, that Arteta would have lasted at the end of last season?
Definitely
they kicked
not.
him out as soon as the final whistle went at Everton.
Yeah.
And then his own crocodile tears of, I was maybe going to go. No, you weren't. You weren't. You're lying. And you can see that this job is aging him. I'll go on record now, right? And you can quote me on this. Whether football gods exist, I don't know. But I'll tell you what's going to happen. Arsenal will get through to the last 16 by the skin of their teeth. Real Sociedad will knock Paris Saint-Germain out over 2 legs. Arsenal will draw Real Sociedad in the last 8. And we will get knocked on our backside. We will get absolutely whipped. And then the football gods will be showing Arteta, look, your own region in Spain, your own people has shown you, don't you dare try and start your managerial career at the 3rd biggest club in the history of England, of English football. And this is what you get as your reward. And that's what I can foresee happening.
Wow. Well, I'll put money on that, James. I'll put some money on that. Anyway, let's look at the other ties in the last 16. James, you walk us through this. So Copenhagen against Man City. Copenhagen. Actually, James, this was the question I think I asked you. You probably didn't respond.
Yeah.
What's the possibility of a team winning it who have not won the Champions League before? It's not.
You did ask that towards the end of the group phase when I would do the previews for the group phase.
Okay.
Absolutely fine. I'm happy to answer any question. Let's champion that. Let's hope it's possible.
Yeah.
If Arsenal don't win it, I want Sociedad to win it. Because what people forget, for all the billions spent, it's tournament football. And in tournament football, you always have surprises. So that's what you're going to get this year. It doesn't matter how many billions of pounds you spend. Doesn't matter about the closed shop, which is being insured. The shutters are literally coming down. The drawbridge is closing deliberately. Deliberately. So if Arsenal don't win it, I am, having been to San Sebastian and championed the city, is just, it's a beautiful place. And having been in the stadium of Atlanta, but I walked around the concourse as I did with San Mamés. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And what you have to remember with Real Sociedad, it's only 21 years ago that they relinquished their rule of having only Basque players from the region. So they relinquished that rule, and they've gone on to reach what I think, the sky's the limit for them. But if you notice, their manager, their squad, their fans, their president, everything fits. And so that's why they're doing so well. To top a group with last year's beaten finalists, the Portuguese champions and the Austrian champions, being Real Sociedad, which translates as a Royal Society, I might add, is a massive achievement. Massive achievement. And I wish them all the very best. And I think we're going to have a date with them in, April. And if what I have to do to get to the home leg, I don't know, but I will do it. But I don't know if I will be able to do both. But I will do the home leg in particular, because another Spanish team at Highbury in the Emirates, fantastic memory. But that's what I predict happening. And to go back to your point, as we're going through all 8 ties, Copenhagen, Manchester City. I think City over 2 legs, but they won't have it their own way. Maybe a draw in Copenhagen, and maybe City winning at home.
Right. Okay. PSG, Real Sociedad. What about RB Leipzig and Real Madrid?
I think Real Madrid over 2 legs, but I can't see them winning it. I can't.
Wow.
I think
Really?
I
Oh,
can't see
okay.
Real Madrid winning this competition. I really
Wow.
can't. I backed Bayern at the start of the season. I'm sticking to that. I managed to get them at 6-1, because of the spine they've got. When you've got a spine of Neuer, De Ligt, Konrad Laimer, the evergreen Thomas Muller, and Harry Kane, you've always got a chance. But I think that Real Madrid at the minute, they're trading off the name a little bit. And Modric is one of the greatest players of his generation, but he's aging. And Bellingham, for all the plaudits, and we've championed young British players going abroad. What he's soon to find out, which McManaman knew, you haven't won anything yet. You
Yeah.
will be judged. You will be judged on what you win. I'll be shocked if Real Madrid win the Champions League.
Wow. Okay. Inter and Atletico Madrid.
Oof. I think with this, with the second leg being at the Wonder, I think Atletico just they drew last night, and some YouTubers are trying to create a rivalry between Atletico and Getafe. Nothing could be further from the truth. I don't understand why people are trying to make up a rivalry like this. I find it silly, really. I'm currently reading a book on El Rayo Vallecano from Vallecas, in the south of Madrid. And that's Madrid's third team, if you like. And for people on their outer edges to be talking about Getafe Atletico as a rivalry is naive, to put it politely.
And Napoli, Barcelona, James.
Barcelona, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not the
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan, although I have become more mild in recent years. I think Napoli will improve under the current manager that they have, and I just think Barca will have too much for them, and I think Barcelona will beat them over 2 legs.
Okay. Right. There's been a couple of comments in the live chat. One of which is just John Gunner just saying hello to both of us. And he says, personally, still think the Champions League a better chance of a trophy than the Premier League.
It's
Not for me.
not a sweet shop though, is it?
Not for me.
It's I mean, I respect everybody's opinion at Canada. Every question I get, I will always. Sometimes if we go overtime, some people who enjoy getting their name read out, I will always go above and beyond for people. But I will repeat what I said a few minutes ago. It's tournament football, and in tournament football, you always have surprises. This isn't a sweet shop, and if it was a sweet shop, we wouldn't be allowed in because we've got no credit, because we've got no relevance. We're like the shoplifter who's like picking up the chocolate mice off the floor, and we're not getting the nice gobstoppers out the crystal jar. You know what I mean? We're like that. So I can understand his point, but you can't pick and choose. And it's I just think the game against Porto is going to be pivotal. It really is.
Yeah. So we're back in Premier League action, James, on Saturday against Liverpool. Is this going to be a season-defining game, James?
No, I don't think so. I see that some Arsenal fans are saying, "Yeah, beat Liverpool, will win the league."
Yeah.
Okay. How many times have Arsenal won the league in December to lose it in March?
James.
Many. 2003, 2009, 2022. Off the top of my head, no Google needed, no stats needed, no jargon needed, because it's ingrained in you. And I think the key game against Liverpool will be the FA Cup game. That's what I think will be key, because if we get knocked out of that, then Senor Arteta has got 2 chances, the most difficult chances, to save his job. Well, maybe he likes to be up against it. I don't know. Maybe he laughs at the fact that you predict that he'll still be here next season. not having won anything for 4 seasons. If that is the case, I will go on record now and say I will pick and choose my games and treat them with contempt. Where I am, if I'm going to Arsenal Bayer Leverkusen or Arsenal Leipzig or even Rams, then I'm going because I want to watch a European opponent against Arsenal. But I will treat them with contempt, because I remember Arteta's face when he went over the 200 game mark. I'm just so proud that we're all here together and we've all reached this point. I don't know how you've reached that point, really. I don't. But again, it's Edu could lord it over Unai. He thinks he could lord it over Unai, who's having the last laugh, and Edu can certainly lord it over Arteta. And one thing that I think I will laugh. Aston Villa are priced at 14-1 to win the Premier League. That's 1-4. That's not 1,400 or 14,000. That's 14. What are Arsenal going to do if we finish second or third and Unai Emery wins the league with Aston Villa? How on earth are the Arsenal faithful going to talk that one good? What you're going to say, what you're going to do without sounding silly. So I'll look forward to that one because I think it'll be really interesting.
But James, I tell you what, I think if that does happen, I honestly believe that people still will not want to give Unai Emery any credit at all. That's just the way our fan base is. Blind.
More for them.
Yeah.
More for them. It will be a bigger achievement than the Leicester one. I'll tell you that now. Not because Leicester was almost relegated. Villa were in the relegation zone, just outside of it. They were written off by all and sundry. And again, it's not rocket science. You've got the Aston Villa board targeting the best manager realistically that they can get, making astute signings and leaving him alone. Arsenal never did that. Arsenal dropped in like a bad habit after 7 winless games. Not 7 defeats in a row, a winless streak of 7. This was the same man that we were all lauding. Well, we've always been in the minority, me and you. But from Ondaribia to do your very first Arsenal press conference in English and to have the bottle and the courage to do it. We all lapped it up and we all loved it. And then when he needed us, we dropped him like a stone. Not all of us. Not all of us. I spoke to his former assistant, Imanol Diakis, and I said in that interview with Imanol, who they're also still very good friends now, I said to Imanol, I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm so embarrassed. And that was also printed by World Football Index, where my quote of me being highly embarrassed as to the way Arsenal treated him, because if he'd have stayed with us, we would have won the league and we would have made progress in Europe. But again, he hasn't got Signelli and Edu banging down and battering down his changing room door, is he? But yet Edu's still here, so you cross the threshold and disrespect your manager, and then 4 years later you bang the drum for just happy to be here in the Champions League draw. We'll talk about foolish. Arsenal never used to suffer fools. That's what used to set us apart. Terry Neal. From Terry Neal. George Graham. Arsene Wenger in the early days. We never used to suffer fools. But now, now we do it gladly.
Yeah. I tell you what, that's been a fiery segment, last 16 preview. We've come to an end.
Go on, James. The rest of the draw to complete it all and give it all.
Yeah. Sorry. Which ones did we miss out? Let me remove this very quickly.
I think we've only done 3 at the minute. No, 4. I think we've done.
Did we do
Arsenal?
Go on, James.
So Arsenal, Copenhagen, Porto, Copenhagen, Man City, Atletico, Inter Milan, and Barcelona, Napoli are the four that we've done so far.
Oh, right. Sorry. PSV Dortmund.
PSV over 2 legs. That's what I
Wow.
reckon.
Right.
Because Dortmund, they've got some great players. Marco Reus, Schlotterbeck, but Peter Bosz, he's a great manager. PSV have won every single game so far. I don't think that will still be the case when they meet in February, but I think, and Peter Bosz returning to his old club, I think Peter Bosz will be highly motivated. I think PSV over 2 legs.
Well, right. Okay. And we speak about Porto and Arsenal as well from
We
the
did.
top of the show.
I think there's 3 remaining now.
Did we speak about PSG? Real Sociedad?
We dropped on them, but I'll just confirm.
Yeah.
La Real. I will go on with my head above the parapet. Real Sociedad to knock Paris Saint-Germain out over 2 legs.
Wow, James. Whoa, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we speak about Lazio and Bayern?
No, it's the penultimate one. I think Bayern over 2 legs, but they won't have it their own way. I can't see Bayern winning in Rome, but Lazio, Immobile, he's very mobile. But I think I think Bayern over 2 legs. Yes.
Oof, wow. Oh my goodness. Have you put down any money for these ties, James?
No, not yet. I'm planning to do it at the weekend.
Right. Okay. I think I'm going to put some money down. Have we missed anyone out? So we did Copenhagen City, PSG Real Sociedad, PSV Dortmund, Porto Arsenal, Napoli Barcelona, Inter, Atletico Madrid, Lazio Bayern. Oh, no, we spoke about RB Leipzig, didn't we? And Real Madrid.
We touched on it, yeah. I'll just confirm as well that I'll go on record and say that Madrid won't win it. They won't win. Right. I think they'll win against Leipzig over 2 legs, but they won't win the competition. And again, for all the plaudits that Jude Bellingham is getting, he hasn't won anything yet, and you are judged in that club by what you win. And McManaman, his autobiography for El Maca from his time at Madrid is amazing. Maca's achieved what Bellingham hasn't, and hasn't received half the adulation. I just don't get it. I mean, there's no doubt that Bellingham is a fantastic footballer making great progress, but at the minute he ain't won anything. Yeah. And if he doesn't win a trophy with Real Madrid this season, there will be questions, and rightly so.
Yeah, and that's it, James, isn't it? At the end of the day, when a man's career, football has finished, they want to be able to look back and say, over my course of being a manager, I won major honors, or I won stuff. Like with players, when players' careers are finished, you want to be able to look back and say, all right, look at my trophy cabinet.
Yeah.
So far, what I don't understand, James, is the loving for Mikel Arteta, who's not won anything. You compare him to Unai Emery, who's won a lot.
But it's a sign of the times.
I know, James, but it's
a sign. But I will go on record again. Just stick to your opinion, because deep down in your heart, you know that you're right.
Yeah.
Deep down in my heart, I know that I'm right, and we've never wavered. I would love if. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Arsenal do win a trophy this season. But if we don't, it will never happen because Edu's still there. I would love Arsenal to say, right, Unai, we want to right a wrong. We want to go out of our way and right a wrong. Here's a 5-year contract. You're going to see it out regardless, and then put a statement on the website. But they're all about statements now. We're becoming like a club full of activists. We're a football club. We are. It's more veering towards activism than football. It's like the famous quote from Jimmy Greaves. Nowadays, you've got back in his day, you had footballers, pure footballers. They weren't pretending to be athletes, because some of them weren't, with the diet and the lifestyle they lead. Now, in current day, what you've got athletes trying to be footballers. That's what you've got.
Good point, James. Good point.
No, that's what you've got. And,
but Just very, very, very quickly. So it's an opinion based on fact.
Yeah.
That at this point in time, James, if you look at what Unai Emery has done and what he's achieved, it is fact compared to Mikel Arteta. What has he won based on fact? What has he won?
And BLAO as well. The population of BLAO is 50,000 people. Could fit in the Emirates. They remain the smallest ever club to win a European trophy of recognition. And they did it at our expense. But everybody's forgotten about it because we wasn't there because of Corona. I watched both legs. I had contact with Imanol Diakes afterwards, all the way up into the Super Cup final, which they lost on penalties to Chelsea. And it's, again, people might talk about contacts. Nobody cares about your contacts. In this day and age, it's all for the show, all of it. But it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. If I was to go through all my football history, I'm not being funny, but what vloggers and YouTubers are doing now, I'm sorry, I did it 2 decades ago. I went abroad off my own back to a Champions League game away at the age of 19. Nobody gave me any money. I had to work overtime to do it. I had to ask permission from my mother. Can I go? I know society and times have changed, but what people are projecting now, it's not football. And it's muddying the waters. And it's becoming more and more polarised, where it's becoming parody. I mean, there's a great quote from Steve Perryman. I know we're an Arsenal podcast. Steve Perryman has links with Tottenham. There's a great quote in the Jimmy Greaves book about Steve Perryman. Steve Perryman made his debut for Spurs, was playing really well. And then he was a very technical player in his early days. And then that was kind of coached out of him a little bit. And then he plays for Tottenham and for quite some time, and he goes to see his brother after a game. And he sees his own brother. He said, I haven't seen you play football for ages. He said, what are you talking about? I played last week. He said, no. He said, I see you run around a lot. I don't see you play football. And I just thought it was a brilliant quote. No, really, really good. I mean, as I say, I will always come on this program and this show to talk about European football, but everything that I project, none of it is contrived, none of it is made up, and everything is due to fact and my own experience of what I've seen with my own eyes, which to me is extremely important.
Exactly. Let's read through this last comment because I do have to end the show. So, Colin, a young welcome. I know, according to some posting you put in our WhatsApp group, you've celebrated a 30th wedding anniversary and you're currently out in Jamaica. So, happy anniversary to you and your loved wife, Colin.
Congratulations, happy anniversary.
Yeah, he says, and our guy ain't won anything. And he goes on to say, now we have backed Unai joining the league title race. Hello, Arsenal. We want more than new training gear. And James and I have always spoken about the 6th kit, the 7th kit, the 8th kit, the 12th kit.
The European training kit, the women's kit, the Legends kit that doesn't actually refer to a legend, but it's or even what I call the biased player, not the Arsenal player, the biased player, who say things like, I'll give you 2 examples. I don't want to play Paris Saint-Germain. Because they've got that little bit more quality, but I think we'll get to the semi-finals. It's the Champions League last 16 draw. And another one, Yuri Timber. This time last year, nobody knew who he was. But ladies and gentlemen, Yuri Timber's joining us. Yay, he's a legend.
He's a legend.
You didn't know who he was this time last year. And he got injured after 51 minutes.
God dare you.
Again, as I say, I've got my memories. Nobody can take them away from me. And I'm not being funny. If you were 18 or 19 now and you tried to do what I did in terms of watching Arsenal from Amsterdam, attending the amount of European games in particular, you couldn't. So I'm extremely, extremely grateful. You know, the ballot has proved difficult for
Yeah,
tickets.
yeah.
I'm not that old, but used to ring up, give your club card number, and away you go. And that's gone from online to receiving your tickets in the post to a QR code
QR
which
code.
vanishes into. Yeah.
Oh dear. You know what? We've come to an end on this one. Ah, James. Oh my
But
goodness.
it's good to see you laughing. We've added a lot more humour in recent weeks as well. That's also something I've enjoyed. We've added more humour there, so that's really, really good.
James, again, thank you. It's always a pleasure to have you on the channel.
You're more
Just,
than
just,
welcome. I look forward to speaking to previewing both legs, and
yeah.
yeah, it'd be great fun. And we'll see how it goes. 21st of February is the game in Porto in Dragao, the Dragons Stadium, as they're known as the Dragons, and 12th of March at the Emirates. So yeah, I hope to be wrapped up warm on a March evening, and I hope not to be walking away from the Emirates with my tongue firmly stuck in my cheek.
Oh my goodness. And listen, that said, this is coming to an end of another segment where we have been shooting the breeze about the last 16 in the Champions League. James, thank you very much. And
You're
we
more than
definitely will see
welcome.
you
Look
on the
forward to
next
next
one.
time.
Absolutely. And guys, thank you for that. Oh, we just had one more from Colin, who says, thank you from my wife. And I, your pleasure, our pleasure, your pleasure,
More
our
than
pleasure.
welcome. All the
Yeah,
best.
well done. Enjoy your holiday out in Jamaica. Until
Indeed.
then, this has been Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. Oh my goodness.